Welcome back to the Ref Show. Abuse of match officials. We're led to believe, not least by the FA, that the figures are declining. I think that is still largely the case. However, a survey, quite alarmingly, has shown that two-thirds, or claims to show, that two-thirds of all referees across England at all levels regularly suffer some form of abuse. So we'll get the views of a referee in Mark Halsey, and we'll get the views of a player in Carlton Palmer who never abused a match referee in his life on that particular subject.
Hey,
okay, it's given
I
me
knew
an
what he was like
view.
on the pitch and on the training pitch.
Yeah, but no, I never prolonged it.
No.
I mean, obviously, if a decision goes against it, you're going to question it. But I never prolonged it because I believe as a player, if you're going to get caught up with that, it's going to detract away from you playing. So if there's a decision that's gone and I'm not happy with it, that's just natural. But even now with my players and whatever, I tell them, you know, at the end of the day, decisions will go for you, they will go against you. But what you can't do is get caught up in it because then it affects your performance.
Should you have listened more to that advice when you were playing early in your career?
Well, listen, even still over all them years, when people say what they said, I still only had 5 red cards.
Right. And were any of those for dissent and abuse of match officials?
No, I think all of them were for bad tackles.
Bad tackles.
Or two
what was he like? Come on.
Two bookable offences.
When he used to go in for a tackle, you used to close your eyes and think, oh no, Carl, take it easy. But you know, he was late a few times.
What was he
know.
like to referee? Come on.
You want players like Carlton to referee because it keeps you on your toes. He's always at you, and you want that banter. It's important that you have that banter with the players on the pitch, and that's how you get their respect.
But he'd get away with that with you, whereas some other referees he maybe couldn't.
Keith was there. Used to do with Keith. You used to have the Roger Gifford. We used to have a bit of fun. You know, if we're losing 5-0 as we were, come on, Roger, blow it off early, or we're winning. You know, and have a bit of banter, and that's what you know. The managers I've worked for always have encouraged the players not to get involved with the referee. If everything Ron said, leave it to me, I'll sort it out at half time. Howard was the same. Because as I say, you could be arguing about a decision as a defender. They take a quick free kick and bang.
Let's have a look at these figures just before we go on. In view of that, it was a questionnaire of 2,000 referees. This was conducted by academics at 3 universities. So it's a questionnaire of 2,000. So it's not every official. Nearly 1 in 5 said that they'd had physical abuse. That's nearly 1 in 5 across the board. That was a research, as I say, by universities. 100 assaults in the 2014-15 season. The FA argue that their Respect campaign is achieving a drop. They said there's a very small number of assaults and that it occurred in only 1% of games. What's your perception of it?
I mean, obviously I've come up through the system myself, and I've got to say it's never ever happened to me. But when it does happen, I've heard of it happening, and I think it's down to the county associations to come down hard on these teams and these players and these clubs that do this. I mean, there's no room for it in our game. It's all about respect, and we need to get it out of our game, full stop.
Because it's horrendous what you hear about that's happening in parks, pitches, but there's no protection for the referee, is there really?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think in schoolboy football and parks, the abuse of the referee is an absolute disgrace. Honestly, I mean, I was in Dubai at an under-15s tournament and a referee got attacked for 115. It is bad.
By one of the kids?
No, by one of the parents.
Right.
Yeah, and it is bad, and I think, you know, in the parks, pitches, as you say, and in schoolboys football, there is no protection for the referee.
No. And they can be a bigger problem, the parents on the line, than the players, honestly, far bigger.
Yeah.
But what I would say, if there is any young referee out there that does get threatened by a parent or a coach or a manager, is report it to the police. Report it to the police and report it to your county association and make sure action is taken. Because I know there's locally in this area, there was a young referee that was verbally abused and threatened by a parent, and the police took action, and the club took action, and he's been, you know, not allowed to attend the matches.
There's got to be a change of culture at some stage, but it's proving a long, slow process. I mean, the FA had the right idea, but how long's the Respect campaign been running now? In fact, people have forgotten all about it, I think. Yeah. It's got to have been running 6, 7, 8 years.
But in the program, you've seen less and less of it. Yeah. You know, people arguing with the referee. Yeah, that's always been part of the game, challenging a decision. But you're seeing less and less of the players crowding the referee, getting round there. You know, the Sheffield United game yesterday was a few decisions there. They didn't all go round the referee. And
we're going to come on to that.
That's because they get a big hefty fine if they do more than 2 players crowd the referee.
Yeah, and they're more conscious of it when it's on TV, I think, players. When it's live on TV, far more. Now, about that game, rightly or wrongly, we don't often talk about League One, but when a game's on television, as this was on Sky, and there are such big incidents, then we do get stuck into it. Sheffield United won 1-0 against Coventry. Ian Williamson was the match referee, and there were 2 key incidents. One of them, very, very early on, was a challenge, and I use the word challenge quite loosely, by Jay McEverley of Sheffield United on Jacob Murphy.
Do you not mean an assault? Sorry for butting in.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't think he's gone for the challenge, right? His intent to get the ball, but he was like about a few weeks late. But what I don't understand from that is A, the referee had a good view of it, and B, it was right in front of the linesman. It is a straight red card. There is no doubt about that. I don't know what the referee's thinking about on that. He's well late. Yeah. He's well late.
I agree with Carlton. As a referee, when you're refereeing, you know, to me every game's a big game. Whether in League One or League Two, in the Premier League, every game is a big game, and you've got to be mentally switched on, mentally focused. How Ian Williamson hasn't recognised that as a red card is beyond me. It's beyond me. As I said, as a referee, when you have a red card, they won't come any easier than that challenge. No. And I just cannot think why he has not sent him off. Well, we'd have to ask Ian.
Does TV do sort of strange things to referees at times? They want to keep players on. I'm on TV.
But I mean, I go on about managing a game, managing the players, managing an event. There are just some incidents that you cannot manage, and that is one of them.
Well, yesterday was one of those incidents. If I was Tony Mowbray, I'm getting back on the bus going out, and that is one of those games where you say the referees cost me the game. Not only was it a sending off, there should have been a goal. There was handball. He's dragged it back over the line. It's a game that Sheffield United had naught to win. But as I said to you before we started, Alan, these things turn for managers, right? Because I think the pressure's on the manager of Sheffield United, and Eddie had another defeat. But things like that can happen and change for the better for you, and you go on a run. But
I understand he's rock solid safe this season. I do, but I know what you mean. There's certainly pressure on the club.
Well, how can he be rock solid safe? You see, I don't understand that. If you're going to sack the previous manager, as they've done for Nigel Clough, for not getting you into the playoffs or not getting you promoted, how can he be rock solid safe when he's so many points off the playoffs
It's just something I happen to know from inside the club, that I know that even if they don't go up this year, and in fact Jim Phipps, the co-chairman, put that on record with me. I think they recognise they've had too many managers in too short a time.
No, and I do agree with that. We were talking about that. Yeah, I don't believe in managers being sacked. As I said to you before, a manager that comes into the club should be given a minimum of 3 years. Minimum.
Well, let's talk about that over the line. And yes, I totally agree with you about that. There's too many sackings of managers generally. The ball is over the line, or it appears to show. You were satisfied it was over, were you?
Well, yeah, you can see clearly. But once again, you've got to ask the question of the match official. Obviously, he couldn't have been 100% sure, but he's right. You know, obviously you can't see where he's positioning. I understand you were at the game, but the assistant referee should have been right on the goal line, right behind the corner flag, and he should have seen that. For me, he should have seen that. But I asked the question. We spoke about at the start of the show. You know, it's great to see it come into the Euros, goal line technology. We've got it in the Premier League. Why have we not got it in the Football League? Why? These games are massive. They decide, you know, look at Bournemouth. You know, a few years ago, nearly going out of business, and now they're in the Premier League. Now, these decisions are massive. You know, it could cost a team relegation, it could cost a team promotion into the Championship, from the Championship into the Premier League. It's massive.
They say they can't afford it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. There's money there. There's money in the Premier League. There's money from the FA. All the bodies come together and they put it in the Football League. It has to come in.
I don't believe in the fact that it can cost teams. I do believe it should come in. Over 42 games or 43, 44, whatever games, you are where you are. It can cost you a one-off game, as it did for Coventry yesterday. But over the course of the season, they will have, you know, refereeing decisions that go for them as well.
Mark made a very good point before we came on with this about things even themselves out in terms of Jay McEverley staying on the field for Sheffield United. in a game previously against Oldham in the FA Cup, they had Che Adams sent off very controversially when maybe he shouldn't have. 3-match ban.
Did it not? I mean, it was just for pushing, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they not? The club not appeal?
They didn't in the end, but I think they probably would have had a good case.
Should have asked me. I would have advised them.
There you are. Free advice is
like
available.
I have done with some clubs this season.
Yes, he's been very busy, Mr. Helson.
No, as you say, some people
you
will
make
say
that point. Why don't clubs? So before they make a decision to try and get a decision overturned, why don't they speak to an ex-referee or a current referee to get some advice?
I'm told they often do, mentioning no names. 5% do you go? What are the
I've asked for their bonus when they played in the next game, but it hasn't come yet.
He gets part of the player's salary if he gets them off a bat. Only joking. Mark, thanks very much. Carlton, thank you to you. It's great chat as ever, and thank you for being there. And we look forward to rejoining you for the Ref Show next week. See you then.